And without further ado, take it away, Lauren.
Hi, hello. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just getting here we go, my timer going. Thank you for coming. I know I'm up against the first AI talk of the day, so I appreciate that. I kind of wanted to go to that talk too, but I'm glad you're here. Also, just found a very interesting connection to my introduction. I worked at the company that she now works at. You'll hear a little bit about it in the slides. So I'm going to start off with a little background about me, some of my perspectives on teams. I'm going to dive into what it means to build remote relationships. And then I'm going to talk about how you support creativity in these remote relationships. Camps, which is a model for engagement. And then I'm going to end with some examples of rituals that I do with my teams. So a little bit of background. I currently work at a company called Seesaw. I'm the UX director there of a team of 7. We have 5 designers and 2 researchers. Originally based in San Francisco, but after the pandemic, they went completely remote. And this is the 3rd company that I've been at where I'm on a remote design team. So my journey started at remote work at a company called Ultimate Software, which no longer exists. It's actually called UKG now. It's been purchased and acquired and whatnot. But I worked at Ultimate Software. I started in 2008. And I want to point out these up here. If you aren't familiar with what these are the Best Company in America to Work For awards. Really big deal. So I decided to join this really great company. The recruiter really talked it up. You want to be here. We've won millions of, or not millions, but we've won all these awards and accolades. We're a great place to work. So I said, great, I'll come. I'll join you for a couple years. I'm off to Silicon Valley where all the cool people work after that. So when I started, they had won this 3 times, but they continued to win it. The company covered all my benefits. They gave me stock right off the bat, a lot of it. They made me part of an amazing team. We have very cool team rituals, a number of company events, yearly complete family trips paid to Disney, Halloween competitions, and so on. All sorts of awesome stuff. We had a basketball court in the middle of phase 1, which was our main building at the time. This was the first of 6, 7, 8 buildings that eventually showed up in Weston, Florida. But it's not just a basketball court in the middle of the building. There are some special things about this basketball court. So first thing is, look what's hanging around the basketball court. We're not talking about releases here. We're not talking about features in a product. We're talking about championships through revenue and championships for best places to work. Are we making money and are people happy? That's what the owner cared about. Those were our goals. For example, some of these were road to 1 billion and road to 2 billion. Incredible, incredible accomplishments. When I started, we were at 500,000, I think. But there's something else interesting about this court that you could see from all around the office. There are 2 quotes and a special graphic in the paint there. So the quotes are, "A true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do him absolutely no good. And the true measure of a company is how they treat their lowest paid employee." So this one is by Scott Shear, who is the CEO of Ultimate Software. And he believed this in his heart completely, and he loved sports, which is how that shows up. That basketball court in the paint there on the free throw line, at the bottom, the biggest triangle says employees. Not something you often see with companies that grow to 2 billion. Employees are our bottom line, not revenue. Then we have customers, because our shareholders are top, and if our employees are happy and well taken care of, they will take care of our customers, and our customers will make our shareholders happy. So again, nothing here is about features or how we're going to expand the product or what the sales team did. It's about how happy the lowest paid employee is at Ultimate Software. So I didn't leave 2 years later and go be cool in San Francisco like I wanted to. Instead, 12 years passed. I got a house, I got married, I had kids. Ultimate went from about 700 people when I started to over 5,000. Things changed, we got bigger, we got a new logo, now we're green. We were the people first company, but at its core, it was still Uncle Scott's company. Uncle Scott is the guy who founded it. And he was called Uncle Scott because we had become a family. The building was near a place called Weston Town Center, which is just west of here, about 20 minutes west of here. And in Weston Town Center, there's a town center with restaurants and things. If you went to lunch and Uncle Scott saw you, your bill was covered. He's Uncle Scott. He takes care of his people. He wasn't just the CEO, this nameless face. We had very low attrition. Employees were celebrating 20 and 25-year anniversaries. How many people do you know now in product design, in SaaS, who celebrate 25 years happily at a company and retire with Rolexes? And this is not that long ago. Very incredible, very rare. And this is in 2021, just after I left. We were still breaking records. So this is from the Great Place to Work, and the graphic speaks to how dedicated the employees were at the company. This is Ultimate Software, and this is the average for the industry. Absolutely incredible. So 2020 entered, before COVID and any of that stuff. It was time for me to spread my wings. Ultimate Software got acquired, a landmark deal, and just a few of my favorite photos that I think help explain what Ultimate Software was, which is kind of where my remote started. So we had hackathons that drove innovation. It was called 48 Hours. We did it twice a year. We had excellent internal training programs. I graduated from a leadership program that took 2 years to complete. Very cool. Tremendously talented UX team, which at this point had grown to 50 people. When I started, I was the third and the first one who actually had the title of a usability person. I don't remember what my exact title was, but the other two were called pixel jockeys and designers. Our fearless leader, Scott, right there in the basketball court, and a sign that we were all writing our name on, driving home our goals. Me in front of the last building I worked for. I worked in, I think it was phase 3, huge, amazing, beautiful workspaces, espresso machines, massage rooms, game rooms, meditation rooms, car washes. Like, we were a very cool place to work. And there were constantly events. These are my girls at this point. I said I had kids, got married, bought a house. They had events constantly, and this was the Halloween event in front of the company People First fountain. So you might be asking, doesn't sound like a remote job. This is all very in-person. But there was a lot of remote. Over half of our UX team was in Atlanta. Some were spread around the country. Some were in California primarily. Some were in France internationally. I also spent the first year of both my kids' lives working from home, 15 minutes from the office, but I didn't need to go in. People first. So as I said, it was acquired, and I had a great opportunity to go to a small 200-person mission-driven company, which is where I wanted to be. At this point where I'm in a 5,000-person huge enterprise, it's getting monstrous. I want to be somewhere small where I feel like I'd make a bigger impact. And I really liked Nearpod. They interviewed well for me, I interviewed well for them. They had a great company culture, which was super important to me. It was a fully in-person job. Now, I'm coming from Ultimate Software, where I just worked from home for 2 years with my kids. And they're like, no, fully in-person job. And I've got like a 3-year-old at this point. Okay, I can do this. This will be good. It'll be nice to be fully in the office. So I went and I bought a whole new post-baby wardrobe. And I think we all know what happened next. So I was living in Fort Lauderdale. This is the news from West Palm Beach, Broward County, and Miami-Dade, because everything was shutting down. COVID, it's scary. We don't know what it's going to do. We don't know how to save you from it. Stay in your homes, lock your doors, etc. So March 23rd was supposed to be my start date. Green was when everything was normal, and yellow was basically when everyone started to freak out. HR called it Nearpod, and they coordinated a masked car window roll down laptop exchange with distance, and that was the only time I saw anyone. So this is what it looked like, and my clothes stayed in the closet. It's not how I pictured building my new team. I expected to see these people in person, to hire it that nobody knows about but me and the team. So that's where you can post your wedding pictures or like your weird cat photo, like whatever you just want to share with us and you don't really want to share with a broader company. And then the prompts are things like, if you could eliminate one food from the world, what would it be? 35 replies. At that point, we had a team of 5. Very in-depth conversations about food, and then you learn so much about each other through those things. Common interests, getting to know each other outside of design work. So then in addition to that collaboration, how do we have daily and weekly rituals and special event for tighter camaraderie? 16 personalities is something that I love, and it's relatively cheap for teams that are on a budget. This is one of the first activities I like to do with new teams. helps us get to know each other better. So you go in and you do this little personality test, and we have a page in FigJam where all of our profiles are posted, and then beneath it we have post-it notes. As the person whose profile this is, I get to read through it and have one column of post-it notes that says, yeah, this is true, I do these things. One column of post-it notes that goes, that's not really me, because these are not all encompassing, right? You take a personality test and some things you identify with, and some things you're like, please don't assume that that's me because I really don't think that's me. And then a last one where other people can comment on things you may not have realized that they think are actually you, which is kind of a Johari window thing to get to know each other better. 16 personalities if you pay for the team edition. Also, I don't work for them, I just like their stuff. It has some really incredible workshop activities, which are great for getting the team to work together. We just did one fun one. We got together in Denver in person. First time we've been in person in 2 years. First time I'm meeting these people. And it was called Stranded on an Island. So we're all in the same space, and you could do this remotely. And everyone's given a prompt that describes your personality randomly. So I'm an extrovert. I like to talk. And I had a prompt that said, don't talk, raise your hand. If no one calls on you, you can't say anything. And then, of course, you get people who are very quiet that get a prompt that says, you are a leader. You always speak up and you speak over others. And you are driving for whatever, water. We had a list of six things to get off the stranded island, and we're all driving for different things. And the goal of the exercise is to come up with a concrete list we all agree on. We did this exercise for 45 minutes. I think we had 20 some odd items. None of them were prioritized. Nobody was going anywhere. We were going to live there forever. It didn't work out well from an island standpoint, but what did work was we realized how often certain voices took over conversations and other voices didn't. One in particular that stuck out to me, someone that I considered to have a voice that was given a leadership tag, he was so quiet. Like, you actually probably don't speak as much as I think you do. And so then we took a reflection on our personalities, our introvertedness, our extrovertedness, and changed some of our rituals, like our critique, based on that. Our company gives us volunteer days. Some companies do that now. It's getting a little bit more popular. You get like a day or two off each quarter to do volunteer time. So we saved up all our days, banked them together, and went to a 503c company and redid their website together. It was fun. It was nice to work on something that wasn't work, wasn't our regular work. We also do half-day remote team building twice a year. Cost, I think, like $200 to $300 for a team of 5 to 6, so it's pretty low budget, but we're all off the grid to everybody else for a half day twice a year. This is a great one, the escape game for people who like to solve problems. I think it's like not even $200, and they have literally a guy with a helmet and a camera who walks around an actual escape room building, and you're all on mics and you tell them what to do. Like, go to the left, no, go to the right. It's great for collaboration and teamwork. We do things based on team interests, including those internationally. I'm not a huge tea person, but everybody else on the team was really into tea. So we sent tea to everybody, and we did a tea tasting. And this one is a guy that we had in Argentina. I couldn't send him Amazon, which was weird to me because Amazon rules my world. So I had to talk to people in Argentina and find a tea shop that could get him a similar package. But we created a whole activity around the tea tasting, and it was a lot of fun. And I realized I don't like tea without sweetener. They all tasted exactly the same, I thought. We've done other things like cocktail tastings. Depending on your company, depending on the people on your team, this is a club soda tasting. Or as Jonathan and Christian, we did this at Christmas. We had somebody on maternity leave. We had a contractor who couldn't make it in an open rec. And they said, we're doing the tequila, right? We had a lot of fun. We're actually playing charades here, where he's on mute and we are guessing, and he has a charade generator to the left, and he was the Terminator, and we're trying to guess what movie he's portraying. At Seesaw, we did a painting event, and this is all in our own homes. So you can see here my setup, a painting kit, $22 per person, nominal, but what a fun afternoon we had. This one right here was by Nate, and then this one was by Kat. Kat is a professional painter. She has paintings hung in galleries. Nate is not. And at one point, Nate, we're all kind of listening to music and just painting along, whatever. And I hear Nate go, when is this going to dry? And Kat goes, well, how thick is it? And he's like icing? Like he used the entire tube of paint on his little 5x5 canvas. It was a good time though. And I'm focusing primarily on remote activities. It's a remote talk, but this doesn't mean this cannot extend to in-person events. Now in-person events are a little bit easier. This is my team 4 weeks ago. We went to Denver. That pizza is monstrous. That's not like a camera angle weirdness. It's humongous. We went on hikes. We went to Meow Wolf. We did a graffiti tour. And we put all sorts of ideas. People could contribute ideas for up to a week. And then everyone got to rank and vote on ideas until we got the top ones. And then those are the things that we did as a group. And then we balanced rated by people who were introverts and extroverts to make sure we weren't just doing all the stuff that the loud people wanted to do. So growing and feeling like you're moving forward is also an important aspect of engagement. So we're having a lot of fun. We're collaborating. We're getting to know each other. We're feeling more comfortable. We're playful, but are we actually moving forward in our careers? And so we do things now like online conferences. This is great. Fig Jam is actually, or Config is actually, I think today, tomorrow. My whole team's going to be at it. It's free. It's online. UXR Conf was, I think, 2 weeks ago, free, online. Block the whole day off and everyone goes. And then we open a Slack channel for it so we can all chat about it while we're there. And then you learn, you have a shared investment, and you're growing forward as a team. It's also cheap, which is great. I'm a big fan of IDF. They have certifications. It's like $160 a year per person, and you can take as many as you want. And so we get together and we do classes together. This is one that we did on the psychology of interaction design. At this point, it had some people on the team who were UXers, but did maybe have the most robust human factors background. And so I said, let's all take a class together and get on the same page together and up level. And then you put this on your LinkedIn and show what you're learning, because as much as I love you on my team and I want to keep you, you're probably not going to work for me forever. And if you go somewhere else and land a better job and I helped you get there, that not only makes me feel good, that's going to make you feel good. So let's see what we can do to build you up and help you grow while you're on this team. We ended up doing a couple of these, and then it got weird because the researchers were like, I don't want to do these anymore. The designers were like, I don't really want to do the research ones. So now we have our PD block. PD is a teacher term. It's professional development time. Teachers get PD credits for doing professional development outside the classroom. So we have a 1-hour block called PD time, and everybody comes. Do what you want, but you need to be growing or learning. You could be taking your own certification, listening to a podcast, reading an article, and then at the end, you post what you did, what you learned, if it was cool or not, and share the link so then other people can learn from it. You can also, again, do this in person now that COVID is over. Peer space is a great way if you have people nearby and no space. We sold our offices at Nearpod in New York. The offices in California are not accessible anymore, but if you happen to have people in a nearby area or you can get to each other easily, peer space is kind of like Airbnb for offices. It's a great way to get together. And we did this, was actually a big trip that we did to create behavioral segments, or kind of like a new take on personas. And so we were all growing as a team and working and collaborating together, but we got to do it in person. And of course, we had a t-shirt competition. And the winner got their t-shirt made for the whole team because we had to keep it fun. And then the last one is evaluation. So what's working? We're doing all this stuff. We have like 7 or 8 rituals a week. We've got team time, we've got crits, we've got fun, big 4-hour blocks of fun time twice a year. We've got our feedback sessions, and we've got our 2-minute time, and there's all these things happening. Is it working? Are people happy? Is there things that we do that they do because we do them and they always hate them secretly? So we have to be open into looking at what's working. As I mentioned in Culture Amp, which is the tool that I use for my weekly check-ins, they have the camps model right there. And everyone can just go in and rate it every single week, and then I can see the score and immediately know if people are feeling on trend or if I'm seeing a trend with the whole team. So this is kind of bigger signals. We also do 360s. So your team peers and the people you work with on projects have the opportunity to help you grow and let you know what you're doing well. And we do a lot of retros. Every quarter, we'll do just a team retro. At the end of the UX team meeting, okay, hey, end of the quarter retro day. How's it going? And you can go in and add your Post-it notes. We can have some discussion. You don't have to talk about it. You can put your Post-it notes and leave the meeting if you want to. The prompts we use are, What are you proud of here? Could be you, could be somebody else, could be work, could be the team. What do you think we should keep doing? And then what do you think we should really think about? And I definitely take that blue board to heart because those are things that I need to figure out how to influence in the right direction if they're not going in the right direction. So now I can't imagine not having a remote team. I prefer it. Some of these pictures are ways that I work now, and I absolutely love it. I miss being around people, but like I have my little patio. This is at a co-working brewery. That's my main office. This is my daughter's room. There's my cat. I never would have thought I wanted to be 100% virtual, but I completely prefer it. And I'm usually in my pajamas, which is fantastic. I also have a much better work-life balance. Thank you very much. Any questions? Oh, if you have a question, I also have these journals that I use with my team because you have to think about why, which I'll talk about in my next talk on bias. But you need to dig into why you're doing things instead of just throwing things up on a page or throwing things in a report. And so these are just little journals that we've created. But if you ask the first question, you get to pick a journal. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you for this. I manage a small team of 6 users.
Oh, hold on. It's weird. Now it's off. I think I heard you have a team of 6 UXers. Do you want to yell and I'll repeat?
Okay.
The question is simple. I'm curious how long your one-on-ones are with your team.
The one-on-ones. Sorry, I was thinking team meeting. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk through what needs to be spoken through, and then also trying to, I guess, check in about that. So
Yep.
Just curious how efficient.
Yeah. Anybody who works with me knows I'm 15 minutes late to every meeting. They're scheduled for half an hour, but I schedule them based on the individual. So for example, if you're watching this recording, Christian always goes over, always. So I have a focus block scheduled for half an hour after Christian because I know I'm always gonna go over. One of my favorites, Bronwyn likes to do walking one-on-ones. So hers is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because inevitably half the time she's like, can we just walk? I'll call your cell. Sure, okay. Now we're outside just walking around having a walking one-on-one. The great thing about camps in the culture app, and the reason I like it is because they fill it out before the meeting and then I kind of look through really quick and then we don't do that during the meeting. So for example, if I'm doing a walking one-on-one, I'll just check it real quick, like, okay, she wants to talk about X, Y, and Z, and then while we're walking, we'll go through those as our agenda. Does that kind of help? There's 2. There's a blue one and a black one, and they're different. Ha ha, a little pitch. This one has a grid and lines, and this one is if you're more open space and dots.
Going open space and dots.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? This one's for my next talk, just saying. Oh, sorry, I didn't. No, it's okay. I'll try to repeat.
Being a researcher in the industry, my work career. I'm originally a clinical psychologist.
Ooh.
And that the thought that you are using the personality test, even if this is kind of fake personality test.
Yeah, it's not a real, real personality test.
It may work for you. And I think the same applies to what you said about everything, that you have to know what methods you are using with the particular. Because as a psychologist, I've seen people having mental breakdowns when they are forced to do this kind of exercise.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of warn you, the people that have thought that, okay, that's a fun idea. Be careful. And I have personal experience working in a toxic team where our manager forced us to do that. And everybody felt very uncomfortable because they felt that the information can be used against them.
Oh, yeah, that's no good. That's no good.
So, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be doing that now.
Yeah, so just,
But like, overall, like, I think it applies to anything we do with our team, is that we be mindful and ethical. And
oh, 100%.
adjust to the team.
Yeah, definitely. So to her point, she's seen some bad experiences where people do personality tests and it triggers them and it doesn't work out well. I take about a year to get to know a team. And so it's not like I'm coming in on day one and going, fill out this report so I can figure out who you are. You've got to build the trust, build the space, work in the rituals, slowly get feedback, understand the personalities, who's an introvert, who's an extrovert, who's sensitive on certain things, for sure, before you. Yeah, would it work for you? What else might you try? Maybe it's a lot more one-on-one situations. I mean, hopefully with a design team, you can encourage collaboration and researchers too. I mean, people have different approaches. Some people do really good reports. Some people do really good analysis. You get them together, help them evolve in a way that feels safe and trusting to them, for sure. Yeah, you want to have a safe space.
If you're not the person at the top that is the culture, what advice would you have for, let's say,
Yep.
how might they convince you in doing activities like this, living using visually, and not quite?
Yep. I think it's just, do you feel like you're comfortable, to your point, being the person to instigate? And if you are, I think, this is what I did at Ultimate Software when I kind of got started doing this stuff, is I went to my boss as the HR company. Hey, we know that people who are more engaged are more invested, less attrition, better work. I want to try a couple of things. Do you mind? And I started with, we did a coffee time. And most people at that point were still there, but we had the people in France and California. And so we had 10 a.m. coffee time every Thursday. And we put a Zoom camera up and we all just made coffee and chatted together. So just little things like that. I think you can always do some baby steps, see how it works, how well you know your team, how receptive your management and leadership is to it. But I think the biggest impact for me is in direct teams. So when you think about the sphere of influence, I don't like to go too broad because your impact lessens. So your team is 8. Real nice size. Yeah. Where you have 100 people on your own, right? It's not small, but it's not. So do you have any thoughts about whether maybe scale to 10, 15, 50, or do you have to start adopting? Yeah, I totally can. So the picture I showed Ultimate Software where I said, here's our UX team of 50 people. We still did these types of things. But at that point, I was like, I don't really feel like organizing events for 50 people. Like, I kind of lost interest when it got that big. And we had people who were more staffed to like organize. And we did big events and things that they organize at a larger scale level. It can definitely happen. I just wouldn't say I'm the right person to speak on it at that level. We were all remote then. Yeah. I mean, not all, you know, maybe 10 of us in phase 1, 3 or 4 in California, 4 in France, North Carolina, Indiana. I mean, there's definitely a good chunk of people not there. Oh, Gather Round. Sorry, I just thought of it. Gather Round. I haven't used it in a couple of years, but it's a great tool for big groups. It's like icebreakers, where they'll take a remote people and put them into breakout rooms and prompt them with questions and then have them answer the questions. The prompts are really good. And then it shuffles them, and then you go into a remote room with a different group of people and it has different prompts. It's a great way to start a big remote meeting.
Yeah, I want to second the question. What if you're not the supervisor? So thank you for that. But I wonder if you could share your thoughts on the cameras being off, because this is a pet of mine. Some other people share my perspective, but I'm on teams where half the team has their camera off.
Yeah.
And not being the leader of the team, I don't really have the authority to tell them to turn it off. But really, for me, it impacts the ability to. So, is there, what's your thoughts on that? And what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I would say it's not like a rule, But I would say if you're going to put a rule to it, it'd be 75% time, or 75% of everyone has their camera on. There are certain individuals and people who have reached out and just said, like, I can't be on all day. And so I said, fine, that's totally fine. Just let me know if you're having an off-camera day. Just ping me. So I'm not like, where are you? Are you okay? What's going on? Are you in your car? Like, can you talk? Can you share today? I don't want to call you out. So just ping me and be like, hey, I need to be off camera today. Okay, great, whatever. Or like, I eat, probably bad habit, I don't recommend it, but I don't get up from my desk. I sit all day long. I eat in meetings, my camera is off completely, and I'll just say, sorry, eating a salad, looks disgusting. I'll be on in a bit, and just sit there and stay off camera the whole time.
Do you have anybody who's off camera?
No. I did have a girl who started off quite a bit, and I pinged her, and I was just like, your presence is kind of your present to us, and we don't have your full presence. If you need to be off camera, if you have an situation, happy to talk to you about it. But if it's just meh, then can you try to come on camera a little bit more so we can see you and that you're involved? Yeah. You. Oh, that's a good question. When I wasn't the design manager or director, and I did the coffee time and the crits, we had people that never showed up. It was a team of 50. We had a good turnout, even if half the team came. And some people would come to the coffee chat, and some people would come to the crits, and it was just like what people were up to. I make a pretty hard line on team building with my teams. Like, you are here because we want you here. We value you. You are good at your job. And if you're not coming to these, you're lessening the skill of the whole group. Like, we really want you in them. And so please try to come if you can. If you have another important meeting and you can't make it to crit, then don't come. But that doesn't mean don't come every The one I'm most fluid on is PD time, because sometimes people are just like, I listened to a podcast in the car this weekend. It was really cool. I don't know what I'm going to listen to today. I'm going to skip it. Fine. Post what you learned in the Slack. Help everybody else out. Don't come.
I love the idea that you have everything, however, seems structured. There is like the PD time and the retros. And one thing that you mentioned was like having unplanned connections. How do you foster those in the remote environment? Question I got.
Yeah, I think it comes organically. It comes through partner time to some extent. So like, hey, you're partnered with Jenna. I don't care when you meet for 30 minutes at some point this week. If you're in the same town, you might meet for coffee. If you're not in the same town, who knows how you're going to connect. The team time, the last half hour where we do games and stuff, gets random. I mean, like, it is technically planned, but the time is unstructured. Let's see, what else? We do team times with other people as well. Sometimes I'll bring people in. I had a good chat with somebody in marketing. You guys don't know marketing that well. Ricardo, join our team time. Come play some games with us as a way to like help foster connections with people they wouldn't normally see. The half day that we do every 6 months for the big virtual block, I try to have some unstructured and some fun. So like when we were painting, okay, all right, we got 2 hours to paint. Does anyone have any music they want to listen to? Jokes? What do you guys want to do in the background? I don't paint in silence. Fine, works for me. Conversation started. Also the water cooler, the things that get posted in there. I mean, people somebody went to an Apple event. We had a guy who just made a table, like whittled the base. It was incredible. Went in the water cooler. And then somebody asked him about it, and they probably chatted on the side, and so it's just creating that space for connections. Oh, and I didn't put it in the deck, but we also do about yous. I try to limit this because it gets old with a team of people who have been together for a long time. But I just had a couple of new hires, and we've got like half the team has some tenure and half the team is new. And so I brought in the about yous, which are Pechakucha style. If you're familiar with Pechakucha, it's like a certain amount of slides and a certain amount of time per slide. And we randomly assign people days. You do not have to do it. You can totally opt out. Nobody will know you opted out. You just never show up. But people are assigned days, and then they do a about me. Hey, I'm Lauren. I have 2 kids, whatever. I show whatever picture. People in my experience, almost everybody gets really into it, and you end up in a memory lane of photography for like half an hour, but it's a really fascinating way to get to know people at a deeper level. Any other questions? Oh, I do think better, for sure. At 12 years at Ultimate Software, I have some core friends, but like I'm still really close with all the people from all the remote teams I've worked with, very close, because we had so much time to connect. And in particular, I think building that trust and getting to know each other at a deeper level, like I could reach out to them at any point and just be like, hey, can I get your advice on X, Y, or Z? Like what? Like we became friends. It became more of an Uncle Scott mentality. Like I am here to protect you from bad parts of the company, to help you grow, to let you fail, to let you learn. We've got each other's back. We're all in this together. Like we're our little group. And it's worked out really well.
It's really great, but you have put a lot of effort in trying to learn in your team. So I would like to know, what would you say to a person in your role that wouldn't do these kind of exercises and would not try to learn their team?
I have worked for those people. You will probably have more attrition, less invested employees, work gets done. To me, it's not as rewarding. I mean, there's plenty of people who manage in a less engaged style who have no interest in being Scott, who are just like, these are my 6 people, whatever, my 20 people, get your shit done. At some point, the company will do some sort of event. Not celebrating milestones or babies or posting pictures or whatever. It does take extra work, but the reward that I have seen and the work that comes out of people and the investment that they have towards the work and the company and how long they stay, I find it very worth it, not only for the value of the team to the company, but just my own value in where I work. But not for everyone. Not for us. I mean, every company is different, and there's certain rules that you just have to obey. But for the most part, for me, it goes back to trust. And like, half of my team is Pacific, half of my team is Eastern generally. There's some in Mountain and Central, but they kind of picked a side, and they didn't have to. And so up until noon, like I know me and Tamara and Christian and Nate, we're going to end up chatting because everybody else is in bed. And then right around noon, Pacific people hop on, and then we hop off at 5 our time, and they still have another 3 or 4 hours that they're working. But we're all together in that overlap. We don't have anyone international in the team right now, but I mean, people travel and whatnot. It's just like trying to find a little bit of common time. Our team meetings and most of our rituals are at the very end of the day because it catches the people Pacific, but it also catches the people Eastern. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you guys liked it and can take some of it away. Thank you for coming.